What B is a British quiz show that lit up our afternoons, challenged our brightest teens and made "Can I have a P please, Bob?" a national catchphrase. In 1983, amidst the rise of VHS, synth-pop and Rubik's Cubes, ITV launched a new kind of quiz show for students. Adapted from a US format, Blockbusters was about to become a cult classic. The American show featured adults and had a different feel, but when it crossed the Atlantic, it became uniquely British. And more importantly, it became a rite of passage for high schoolers across the UK. The show started with an awesome piece of 80s synth-pop, composed by Ed Welch, and as a child, I always liked the sci-fi feel to the graphics. At the heart of Blockbusters was Bob Holness, calm, charming, and always encouraging. With his friendly demeanour and iconic voice, he guided thousands of teenage contestants through a maze of hexagons. The game itself was very simple. One player against a pair of players trying to guess the correct word from a simple clue. The board contained a series of interlocking hexagons, each containing a letter, which a player could select and then have Bob read a clue to guess the word. For example, if the hexagon contained the letter B, Bob might ask, "What B is a spherical object used in many sports?" The answer, of course, is ball. Upon providing the correct answer, the hexagon would change colour, white for the single player and blue for the pair. The solo player attempted to complete a vertical connection of white hexagons from the top of the board to the bottom, and that required at least 4 correct answers. The pair attempted to connect a path from left to right, with blue hexagons requiring at least 5 spaces. The first side to connect their path won the game. This was a best of 3 rounds format, so the first to win 2 was hailed the winner and would go on to play the gold run. The loser would depart the show, but they wouldn't leave empty-handed, as they were given a Blockbusters sweatshirt and a Blockbusters branded Oxford Dictionary. They would also take home a small cash prize, should they have won one of the games during the best of 3 round. The gold run followed the same format as the first round, but this time, instead of the hexagons only showing 1 letter, there were numerous letters on display, meaning that the answers to the clues were made up of multiple words, but this time you had to cross the board in under 60 seconds. If a gold run was completed, the winner would take home an additional special prize. It's worth pointing out that if the gold run was to be played by the team containing 2 players, only 1 player would step forward to play. Upon completing the gold run, either successfully or not, the player would return to the main set to face a new challenger in a repeat of the first round. It was possible to appear in as many as 5 gold runs, and if successful for a 5th time, you were forced to retire to give other contestants a chance. In later seasons, this threshold was reduced to 3 gold runs. Blockbusters was first broadcast in August of 1983 on the ITV network, and typically held the 5:15 time slot. Remember, this was before Neighbours or Home and Away hit the UK, so it wasn't competing for our attention, but once the Aussie invasion hit, Blockbusters was moved to the 6:30 time slot. Depending on which region of ITV you watched, it may even have been moved to the early afternoon. I really enjoyed the show, although I suspect I may have been watching it for all the wrong reasons. I was only 9 years old when the show debuted, and most of the questions went over my head, but I would watch anxiously in the hope that someone would say this.
Can I have a P, please, Bob?
Well, of course, already, please. What?
Very juvenile, I know, but hey, it was funny back then. In a later episode, one poor chap obviously had sex on the brain when answering this one.
What O is the generic word for any living animal or plant, including bacteria and viruses?
Orgasm. Oh.
Sadly, the initial run of the show came to an end in May of 1993, and despite multiple remakes, nothing could compare to the charm of the original. The original show was a classic piece of 80s television with its sleek intro, a well-dressed host, and a series of contestants who weren't there just to show off to their friends on social media. For a generation, Blockbusters was more than a game show. It was a celebration of young minds, awkward humour, and the gentle power of a great host. Blockbusters proved that knowledge could be cool, that sixth formers could be stars, and that sometimes all you really need is a pee. Were you a fan of Blockbusters? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.